Bon. Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome to our natural living workshop with community herbalist Lily Kunning. We are greatly appreciative of her volunteering her time away from her busy formulating for Haven Herbs and her own personal business to present these monthly presentations for us. So we are so thankful, Lily, that you're able to join us this morning. And we will turn this over to you now. Oh, and you're still muted, Lily.
That would help if I unmuted. Good morning, everybody. It is June, and I am very grateful that y'all let me reschedule from next week. Normally, I would do these in that week of the month, but I get to go on vacation. I'm super excited. So we did it this week. This topic is holistic cancer recovery. And in this particular session, we're going to be talking about recovering from surgery, recovering from chemo, recovering from radiation, and what you can do to build up your body so that it is more resilient and it does recover more quickly. Um, so let me. Hello, here I am. Thought maybe you'd like to see me. Um, so we're going to go ahead and get started. I've got a presentation deck for y'all. Can everybody see that? Let me get rid of that. There we go. All right. So, and when I talk about holistic cancer recovery, I just want everyone to remember that all of our body parts are interconnected. So we're going to be talking about body, mind, and spirit wellness. So we're going to talk about what it means to look at the body in a holistic way. And then we're going to talk about all the different things that impact the quality of the cells in your body, right? Diet and nutrition, your movement, your stress management, the mind body connection, and how you can have that work to your advantage. Detoxing your home a little bit, different supplements and herbs that you may want to try as you are recovering, getting a team and having positive relationships in your life to help you heal faster, and some resources to get you started on your healing journey. So, as Darlene said, I'm an herbalist. I formulate for Haven Herbs. I have a small word of mouth clinical practice. I don't really advertise it. It's just whoever I come in contact with who needs some support. I teach classes as well, both online webinars like this and online self-paced courses, but also I've started again in person. Woo! After many, many years of pandemic craziness, I'm started to teach in person again here in Tiffin, Ohio. So if you're ever in the Tiffin area, you might want to look at the Haven Herbs calendar and see if we've got a class going on, because I've coordinated with the Tiffin Community Kitchen, which is a nonprofit food and wellness resiliency nonprofit. So one of the things, the reason that I teach for cancer support community is that I believe that healthcare and wellness should be accessible to all. And, you know, there are so many things that we can do to build more resilient body systems that we just have not been taught in this country. In fact, there's lots of costly marketing telling us to do other things. So I want to make it accessible and help people in whatever way I can. Um, but let's talk about what holistic actually means, because the word is bandied about, but not everybody understands it. And so holistic practitioners, and herbalists are not the only ones, see the on the right hand side, it talks about all those systems of the body being interconnected, right? Your digestive system is innervated. It also has 75 to 90% of your immune system contained within it. And the endocrine system is also contained within it. And so you've got 4 different major systems of the body all together. So when one is having a problem, a lot of them have a problem. It becomes this cascade of failure. It's really important when you're looking at the body to see it as a whole, and be able to recognize when things are going wrong and how they might be connected, and give you a bigger picture of what potentially is wrong. The main reason I tend to be critical of modern biochemical medicine is because it has a specialist mentality. And don't get me wrong, that can be very helpful, especially when you're dealing with like cancer, right? You need an oncologist who is very experienced in the different types of cancer. But what that does is it really narrows your field of vision so that you don't necessarily recognize other things that may be happening with your body. Or you might report some symptoms to a doctor and they're like, oh, that has nothing to do with this. But that's because they're not trained to see the big picture. They're trained to narrow their focus and really become specialists. And I believe that holistic practitioners and modern biochemical practitioners should be working together because they can help inform one another of what might be happening in someone's body. So that's that right image. All of the systems of the body are interconnected. The left image is you are connected to a broader system outside of your body. And all of the things, your body, spirit, and mind, are impacted by your environment. You can't not be, right? The relationships you have, your financial situation, your job, how often you move your body, what kind of food you eat, your work, is it fulfilling? Do you have insurance? Like, there's just so many layers, and they're going to impact you, and they're going to affect your health and your wellness. So a holistic practitioner thinks about all of those things. Um, so let me, there we go. So let's start with diet and nutrition because it is the foundation of everything. When an organism is being created, its digestive tract is the first thing that gets created. It is that essential to your being. And so when I talk about diet and nutrition, I'm not talking about weight loss. That is not a health goal. Um, when I'm talking about nutrition, and diet is not coded for weight loss. Diet is what you put in your face. And so there is no one true diet for everyone. I know that there are a lot of people on the internet, especially, who are telling you that the diet that they follow is the diet that you should follow. But that isn't necessarily true. Holistic practitioners look at a person and their constitution and their genetic markers and the environment that they live in to determine what would be best for them to eat. Vegan fat free, for example, is a very common diet that many people espouse, but it's not necessarily good for everyone, and it's not necessarily good in the long term. We need fat in our bodies, particularly if you have a nervous system disorder. You need that fat to feed your nervous system. And, I am a firm believer that your diet should provide all your nutrients. You should not have to supplement on the regular unless you have a genetic condition that doesn't allow you to absorb certain nutrients. But otherwise, your diet should be the thing that you get your vitamins, minerals, amino acids from. Um, fad diets are all over the internet. But honestly, the best advice I've ever heard about diet is from Michael Pollan. He says, eat food, not too much, mostly plants. Now, eat food means don't eat non-food. If you look at a package and you see a dissertation for an ingredient list and most of it is unpronounceable gibberish, that's not food. That's not food. Um, don't eat too much, right? Don't overindulge. Don't, make your gut work harder than it needs to. And mostly plants, right? We are meant to eat a mostly plant diet. When I make food in my house, half of the plate is greens and vegetables or fruit or a combination of those. A quarter of it is some sort of protein, and a quarter of it is some sort of uh, carbohydrate, right? Some sort of grain. Um, and that works for my body and it works for my son's body. Some people have different conditions that make them need to eat more protein or make them eat more greens. But generally speaking, that's a pretty good way of looking at food. And I put the Mediterranean food pyramid on here because it's very different than the way like the USDA recommends you eat food. Um, and we all know that the Mediterranean diet is one that promotes a lot of health, well-being, and longevity. So if you look at the bottom of the pyramid, that's the most of things that you should be eating. It's fruits, vegetables, and grains, mostly whole grains, right? So all of that is at the base of the pyramid for a Mediterranean diet. And above that, it says fish and seafood, often at least 2 times a week, right? So we go from daily to about 2 times a week for fish and seafood. And then it goes up from there, poultry, eggs, cheese, and yogurt. They put poultry and dairy together. Isn't that interesting? Um, and that is the next one. Moderate portions, daily to weekly, right? So, you can eat dairy every day. You can have chicken a couple times a week along with your seafood. The very top of the pyramid, meats and sweets together. Isn't that interesting? Right? So these are the things that you eat sparingly. You eat them less often. They are a treat. It also recommends that you drink water all the time and you have glasses of wine in moderation, right? Wine actually has some pretty good health benefits. Um, Now, they say that you can have as much olive oil, beans, nuts, legumes, herbs, and spices as you want. That's at the base of the pyramid as well. And then it says daily physical activity, right? And it should be daily. Even if you're doing chair yoga, even if you're just taking a walk, daily activity is important for your body to help recover. Um, so my advice to Americans as they are trying to modify their mindset and their diet around food is avoid the middle aisles of the store as much as possible. Shop the outside of the store. So the outside is produce and meat and eggs and dairy, right? They also put the bakery there, but I would avoid baked goods from the supermarket and make your own because there's all kinds of weird chemicals in commercially baked food. But yeah, the outside of the aisles. The middle aisles tend to be processed. They're cans, they're jars, they're boxes. They're full of all kinds of non-food. The one exception I can think of is buying organic wheat flour, right? That's in the middle aisle. And then you can bake your own food. But when you buy flour, make sure it doesn't have any non-food in it. Make sure it hasn't had processes like bleaching or bromating the flour. So organic, unbleached, unbromated flour. Some of the common brands in the supermarket that are like that are King Arthur and Bob's Red Mill. Those two are A plus in terms of not having non-food in your food. And as they like to say, pay the farmer now or the doctor later. So go to the farmer's market now that it's open, stroll leisurely and pick up your produce for the week. Base your recipes around that seasonal produce and enjoy our lovely summer weather. Um, let's move on to movement. There is a movement for everybody. And I know many of you have mobility issues or you have extreme fatigue as you recover from cancer. There is an activity for you. We just need to find what it is. Um, you may need to do less or you may need to adapt the movement to your abilities at the time or your condition. And that's totally great, right? The thing about movement every day for all bodies, particularly if you do the same types of movements every day, is you get to track your progress. You get to track how strong you're becoming. So, swimming or aqua aerobics is really nice if you've got joint issues, especially it's low impact. Um, and it's pleasant to be in the water. You don't have to worry about sweating. um, but those are really great activities. Qigong or Tai Chi. And if you don't have a class near you, although Cancer Support Community probably does have a class, um, then you can go on YouTube and look it up, because I follow along with Qigong routines on YouTube. They're fantastic. And some of them are really strenuous and some of them are not. You just need to search for the ones that you can work on. And as you do it every day, you will see that you're getting stronger and you're getting more graceful and balanced. Adapted yoga, chair yoga, or using bricks is fantastic. And you can find a yoga class that will help you adapt the movements to your need. Walking, of course, if you're not too frail to walk, walking, especially in a flat area in the beginning is really great. But as you get stronger, walking in the woods on trails is really beneficial, because not only are you getting the exercise, but you're also getting the calming, restorative power of nature, which we will talk about in a bit. Gardening, hey man, it's exercise and you get tomatoes. Who can beat that? I think gardening is awesome. And if you've got issues with your movement, you can adapt your gardening. You can build beds taller so you're not hunched over and bent over or having to squat. There's lots of different ways to garden. And of course, stretching. Stretching is always appropriate. It's one of the first things I do in the morning. I'm still on my bed and I'm stretching. My IT bands get really tight, as do my neck and shoulders, with the kind of injury that I live with. And so every morning I'm doing those butterfly things, splaying my legs out and stretching out my IT bands before I even get out of bed. It's just part of my routine now. And that's the challenge, right? All of these new habits that you might be picking up, changing your food, changing your movement, it's all about learning how to incorporate it into your life so it becomes a routine. Let's talk about emotional wellness. Depression, anxiety, they're more common than you think. 1 in 5 adults have experienced a mental health concern in the past year. You are not alone if you are depressed or anxious or having thoughts that are disturbing. And it's not a problem to reach out for help. There is so much help out there waiting to help you. I would start with Cancer Support Community, seeing if they have referrals available to you. Um, and, if you can find a counselor or a group session, especially of people that are in your situation and they're recovering from profound illness, they're going to understand you. Sometimes it's hard if the people that we love and support us haven't gone through this themselves. You may need to talk with people that have, and that's great. Reaching out for help is a sign of strength. It's not a sign of weakness. Making yourself get a little vulnerable is so hard. And, I encourage you to do that. I also encourage you to start journaling, because it can really help you figure out your own feelings. Sometimes we have feelings and we're not even sure why. And so journaling about what is on your mind can be very helpful. Um, starting with the prompts, what is causing you stress? Is someone causing you stress? Is something causing you stress? How is it possible to eliminate some of these things or change them fundamentally? How can you get help? And where have you started to look for help? And most importantly, look around and figure out who's on your team, right? Your team is there to support you as you recover from cancer. And I bet you they are waiting around for you to tag them in. More often than not, they don't know what to do. They need to be asked. So I would highly encourage you to do that. So the mind and the body are connected, as I said earlier in the session. And mindfulness and a gratitude practice can really help reframe how we're seeing things, particularly if you are depressed or unhappy or anxious. Mindfulness and gratitude practice are some of the most profound things, and they're free that you can do. Um, so, we talked about in movement doing Tai Chi or Qigong. That is a form of movement meditation, right? It brings you to the present. Anything that brings you to the present moment and what is happening right here in your body is a meditation. You can do walking meditation, you can do sitting meditation. Sitting meditation is some of the hardest meditation there is, right? You're supposed to like clear away thoughts, and when they come, notice them and sweep them away. Man, it is really hard to not think. It's some of the hardest meditation there is. Walking meditation's a little easier. I find Tai Chi and Qigong to be easier because you're focusing on how the heck am I supposed to do this movement? And you're like looking at the person and you're trying to do the same thing and you're jiggling all around. Uh, that is meditation. Shinrin Yoku is the Japanese term for forest bathing. It means, and doctors prescribe this in Japan, it means going out into nature where you cannot hear human activity. No cars, no talking, no trains, nothing. Get out there and be in nature. You don't necessarily have to walk. You could walk until you find a great place to sit and just bathe in the forest. It's called forest bathing, right? Shinrin Yoku means forest bathing. Um, Getting out into the fresh air, getting sunshine, those things are clinically proven to reduce stress, anxiety, and depression. Hearing bird song also does the same thing. So, getting out there and just being present in nature can help you. I mentioned yoga, Tai Chi, and Qigong. Those are movement meditations. Qigong also has the benefit, there are different kinds of medical Qigong. And depending on, what parts of your body are currently compromised from recovering from cancer, I remember doing medical Qigong and watering my kidneys and fortifying my heart, like all of these things that you can do. Um, and, if you're looking for Qigong exercises for that part of the body, you can just get on the second largest search engine there is, YouTube, and, do Qigong for uterus, Qigong for heart, whatever it is, it's out there. I promise you. Again, journaling, music therapy, art therapy, breathing exercises, again, focusing on your breath, and prayer. All of these things are mindful activities. They bring you in the present. One of the things that a therapist once told me that I thought was so right on the money was people who have an anxious constitution live in the future. They're constantly stressing about what's going to happen, or, oh, I need to meet this deadline, or, oh, future, future, future. People who are depressed tend to be dwelling on the past. They have regrets. They're sad about what happened. Um, and the thing is that we really only have this present moment. What has happened has happened. What is going to happen is not predictable necessarily, and it certainly doesn't help you to stress out about it before it even happens. What you have is this present moment, and by focusing on what is right here in front of you and within you, you actually lessen your depression and anxiety by being present. So yeah, mind, body, thinking about that. I also highly encourage you. You may have been to a whole class that I teach about detoxification of your home and your body care. But detox, when I talk about it, we're not talking about weight loss because there's nothing wrong with your body. Um, I'm talking about removing toxic chemicals that are carcinogens and endocrine disruptors from your life. We actually welcome these things into our home on the regular. Um, a lot of our body care contains parabens or other types of chemicals that are carcinogens or endocrine disruptors, a lot of our cleaning supplies, and even things like appliances and furniture contain these chemicals. So becoming aware of where the toxins are in your home and removing them and not bringing them in again is a huge process. I recommend starting with one area, finishing it, and moving on to the next. So let's say you're doing your audit. Start with your home cleaners. Look underneath your sinks, look in your garage, look in the basement, wherever you store cleaners for your house, whether that's laundry detergent, dish soap, surface cleaners, toilet bowl cleaners. If you don't understand what those chemicals are, I recommend going to the link here in the slideshow, and you will get a copy of the slideshow, ewg.org, and looking it up. They have databases of chemicals, and they will tell you if they are dangerous or not. They rate them just like in school, A through F, and they let you know why. You can look up a chemical or you could look up a product. They have a database of cleaning products. They have a database of cosmetics. They have a database of body care. And they even they have consumer guides around appliances and furniture so that you don't bring those things into your home. But yeah, EWG stands for Environmental Working Group. They are a nonprofit organization, very deserving of support, but they do all of this and make it available for free. If if you are familiar with them, it's probably because they publish every year the Dirty Dozen, which is the 12 most pesticide laden produce in the supermarket. So always buying those 12 organic, but they also publish the Clean 15, those 15 products the produce that you can buy commercially and not have to buy the organic one because the residues are negligible. Um, so they do a lot of great work, and I highly recommend going to their website if you haven't already and helping them detoxify your life, starting with your cleaners, then going on to your body care. And then as you're about to replace furniture or you're going to renovate your home or you're going to buy an appliance, check out them for that because a lot of things have coatings on them or they're made from materials that you just don't want in your home. Um, you can control what comes into your home and what you put into your body more than anything else, right? Out there, out in the world, you can't control the air quality. Darlene and I were talking about how the wildfires are making our eyes water and our allergies flare up right now. We can't control that. But what we can control is what happens in our house. And what we can control is what we put in our bodies. So focus on that and really eliminate a huge portion of toxic chemicals in your life. It's amazing how many Americans have just a ton of them in their homes. Supplements. So there's a link here. If you're looking for a supplement that's not like an herbal remedy or tonic that I would make, vitamins, fish oil, minerals, anything like that, you can get them on my full script at a deep, deep discount. I do this as a public service. Supplements can get super expensive. So if you have been recommended by a practitioner of yours to get any of these things, probiotics, um, look on my full script first because, I think it's 20 or 25% off of retail. And that way you can save some money. It gets a little spendy. Um, but these particular minerals, essential fats, are really helpful as you recover from cancer and cancer treatments. Sometimes the treatment is even more toxic than the cancer, right? Um, but there are also herbal supplements, and that's my area of expertise. There are cancer fighting phytochemicals within many kinds of plants and fungi that can help you recover. The name of those phytochemicals, like polysaccharides and et cetera, are in there. But I also listed a few here so that you know what to look for. So turmeric, I'm sure you've heard of some of the amazing health benefits of turmeric. I take turmeric every day as golden milk. I use it as creamer in my coffee. And I use it for joint flexibility and inflammation. It's great for that. but it also has cancer fighting chemicals in it. So do mushrooms, medicinal mushrooms, reishi, shiitake, turkey tail. All of these have cancer fighting properties, tumor fighting properties, and taking them, you know, as you recover and are in remission, helps to ensure that things don't come back. Ginger and garlic and cayenne, all of these things contain anti-cancer properties. And incorporating them into your diet, hope you like spicy, because ginger, garlic, and cayenne, they're good for you. You can incorporate these into your food. The best medicine is food. Turmeric is a food, right? These mushrooms, shiitake is a common food in Japan. Reishi and turkey tail, not so much because they're very woody, but you can use them in many ways. You can, tincture them. You can powder them and then put them into things so that you can ingest them. And then I make two formulas that you may be interested in for Haven Herbs. Glandurific is for people that have finished their chemotherapy and their radiation treatment, and it helps to get everything, flush it out of the lymph. It's really great, especially in conjunction with some dry brushing techniques, but it helps clean the lymph. You don't want to do it while you're taking your treatment because those poisons that are in your body that are making you feel sick are there to kill the cancer. We want to get rid of the cancer first. And then when the doctor says, okay, we're done with treatment, then you can flush it out of your body. Justice for All is a mind, body, spirit restoration tincture. It is safe to take during cancer treatment. It has many of those medicinal mushrooms in it that help modulate the immune system, help fortify your adrenals because you've been under a lot of stress and cortisol spikes lately. Let's restore those adrenals. Um, and it also helps restore all the other systems that may be compromised by cancer or its treatment. So those are there from Haven in particular. But of course, if you have any questions about your particular circumstance, you probably want individualized attention, and that would require a consultation and potentially a custom formula. But these are for sort of over the counter things that you need. Get yourself some fish oil and probiotics, and then maybe some Justice for All. These are what we call herbal actions for your cancer recovery. So immunomodulators. So there, for every system, there are stimulants, sedation, and modulation. Stimulants, so for example, let's talk about the nervous system. Nervine stimulants are things like caffeine, right? Coffee and tea have caffeine. They stimulate the nervous system. Sedation, chamomile tea, right? That is a nervine sedative. A nervine tonic or modulator is oat, right? Especially milky oat. They help the system recover, be more resilient, strengthen itself. And modulators for regulatory type of systems like the immune system and the endocrine system, modulators help the system find a golden mean. Cancer is the immune system gone a little haywire. We need your immune system to chill out. So immunomodulators are helpful to people who have cancer or are recovering from cancer. Anti-inflammatories, I mentioned my turmeric. That's a really well-known one. Another one is stinging nettles. They help reduce chronic inflammation in the body, which can cause pain. Anti-angiogenesis, and so cancer fighting. Excuse me, I'm gonna get another cough drop so I don't start choking here. Nausea. A lot of times the cancer treatments can cause some pretty serious nausea. Very easy while you are in treatment to help treat nausea. Mint, ginger, chamomile, lemon balm, cilantro, all kinds of things that can help treat your nausea. Nutritives, in other words, nutrition. Wild herbs often have more nutrition than commercially grown food because they haven't grown in denatured soil. Commercial food is grown in soil that is often monocropped every year. And so they need to put chemical fertilizers and chemical pesticides in it for the plants to grow. But herbs are weeds, they grow everywhere and they grow taking properties from the soil that haven't been denatured. Stinging nettle is super nutritious. So is raspberry leaf, right? If you have a raspberry bush, making tea out of those leaves, in addition to eating the fruit, it's really good for you. Catnip is also highly nutritious. You can grow it for you can grow it for the cats. Blood building, right? A lot of times, um, chemotherapy and radiation really weaken the blood and make it so that you have less red blood cells to carry around, your oxygen. Ironweed, very appropriately named. Tulsi, which is also known as holy basil. Stinging nettles, all of these help build the blood. In other words, help you create more red blood cells and plasma so that you can become stronger and more resilient. And again, here's two links for Haven and my dispensary. Building your wellness team. The people around you should be of support to you, right? First, you should clearly define what your wellness goals are. All of the people on your team should play well with others, not fight with each other and stress you out, or fight you on what your wellness goals really are. Your well being and what you want should be the goal. And so, make sure that everyone on your team is cooperative with you before you actually need them, before things get critical. Um, you get to direct them. You're the foreman. You get to decide, like, hey, can you cook a meal and bring it to me? Hey, I need a ride to this appointment. You need to communicate what your needs are, and it's often better to create them in advance while you're still feeling okay. Um, if you're not feeling okay, bring someone over who's willing to be your secretary, and you can dictate to them, right, what it is that you need. And maybe they can help draw it out of you. Maybe you're not even clear. Uh, Getting someone to be like, hey, how often are you eating? Okay, so you need what? How long can you stand and be in the kitchen, right? Like, do you need something that is microwavable? Do you need something that is delivered to your bedside? Like, what it is that you need so that they can make sure that it gets provided for you. That is someone who is a great team member. And if someone is stressing you out, even if they're trying to be helpful, tell them, I'll see you later, right? Like, you do not need that right now. You don't need extra stress. Stress is a thing that should be minimized while you're in recovery. It's stressful enough having cancer. It's stressful enough doing cancer treatment. You certainly don't need someone in there just stressing you out for no reason. So make sure that your team is functional, that they listen to you, and that they get you what you need. And I do know the cancer support community has a really great scheduler for care, right? Like, people can sign up for shifts, for rides, for food. Darlene can maybe speak to that at the end or whatever, but it's a fantastic resource. When my friend was recovering from cancer, we used that resource really well, and it helped us coordinate her care. Here are some resources for you. Of course, Cancer Support Community. They do so much. They have so many resources, maybe even ones you don't know about yet. Um, Maybe setting up an appointment to talk with someone about what your needs are that are unmet, and maybe they can help you. Haven Herbs is here for over-the-counter remedies, tonics, and body care. I am here, Lily Kunning. If you need a custom consult, happy to do it. Custom formula, happy to do it. And here is a really great link on Vipassana meditation, which is that classic sitting and trying to clear your mind kind of meditation where I need extra support. Maybe you do too. Don't hesitate to seek out help. whether that's through cancer support community, a doctor, a therapist. Um, I am a practitioner that works with people with chronic issues, autoimmune, cancer, all that, you name it. Um, your doctor should spend time working on a wellness plan with you. Um, and if they're not, then get a second opinion, right? Knowing your goals makes it easier to delegate. And I do have a program that I'm transitioning. It used to be live webinars, but I'm actually transitioning it to an online self-serve course called Wellness in Weeks. It's meant to be wellness coaching for people that have chronic conditions, people who um, sort of the wellness community have sort of left behind because a lot of that stuff is it's too strenuous of exercise, or it's weird fad diets that don't take specific conditions in mind. Wellness in Weeks is wellness coaching for the rest of us, right? And so it's going to become a self-serve course very soon. I'm working on all that so that you can do it in your own time when you have the spoons. So there's that coming up too. This is my email address. If you have any questions, concerns after the session is over, I am happy to respond and help out in any way I can. So now's the time for questions. Get them in the chat or unmute. I'm happy to answer questions. We've got 15 minutes. Woo, I did it. I thought I thought maybe I was running over, but that's great.
Yeah.
That's a lot. I know
Perfect.
that
Yeah.
that's a
A
lot of
lot of
information.
information, but perfect timing, Lily. And as people are either unmuting or using the chat, I wanted to give a personal testimony to working with you and your personal practice. I had reached out to Lily and made a appointment with her for a health condition I live with, and it has been so beneficial. My doctor was impressed when I got my blood work back. So I want to say, that's a wonderful service that Lily provides. But just a personal testimony I want to put in there before we get into the questions and answers time.
Yeah, absolutely.
I have one for you, Lily. What about my daughter is really into this mushroom coffee, and I did find a little jar at Kroger's, and it's a powdered thing,
Mhm.
and I know it's got lion's mane and turkey tail and a couple other mushrooms, but it's a powdered. I've been putting just a teaspoon of that in with my regular coffee in the morning. I can't tell the difference. It doesn't really change the taste.
Yeah.
Is that beneficial, or do you have something like that that would be more beneficial?
It's super beneficial. What brand are you using, by the way? Do you know?
Let me go look. I've got right here in the kitchen.
Excellent. I use some of the mushroom coffee too. It's in my little mug here. And I've tried a bunch of them. And they all have really great benefits. Some of them have additional health benefits in addition to the mushrooms. Mine, for example, has some collagen in it, and some L-theanine amino acids that kind of are energizing, and some B vitamins, which are energizing. But yeah, we we could definitely use some of that. I started taking the mushroom coffee a couple years back, and honestly, I don't miss coffee. I drink it by its on its own in the morning, and then in the afternoon sometimes. If I when I hit my slump, because I slump in the afternoon, then I might get some coffee, and it's kind of like a treat. I can walk to the cafe, get my coffee, and walk back. And so then I've energized myself through walking, and I've rewarded myself with a little coffee. But yeah, the mushroom coffee, I'm a big fan actually.
Okay,
The
this
process.
one is, yeah, this one is Simple Truth Organic. It's Kroger's own
Okay,
brand.
Kroger's brand. Oh, interesting. Everybody's getting in on it now. Um, I have tried Everyday Dose, Atlas Plus, Mud Water, Four Sigmatic, and maybe one more. And there are others that I'm looking to try, right? And some of them are coffee based, like they taste like coffee or they're a coffee substitute. Some of them are more herbal. There's one I want to try that's like a matcha rose mushroom blend. Sounds delicious. I'm very excited to try it. Haven't gotten it yet, but yeah, no, I think that those are a wonderful addition. And don't get me wrong, coffee isn't bad for you. Coffee has a lot of health benefits. And my 15-year-old son drinks coffee in the morning because he's atypical neurology, right? And so it actually helps him make those connections in the brain to get more focused in the morning.
Yeah.
And
It looks like this one's got coffee in it. It's got coffee and then it lists all the different mushrooms. I guess there's 7 different mushrooms
nice.
in with the coffee. So, it's lasted a long time just putting a teaspoon in with my regular coffee. And I thought, well, it can't, I feared it couldn't hurt maybe.
Yeah, no, I mean, it sounds great. And yeah, the Atlas Plus that I'm drinking now is also, it's Atlas is a mail order coffee company. And so theirs also has coffee in it in addition to all these other things, but it's a lot less coffee than you would get if you were just drinking a cup of coffee. Cause right,
Yeah.
because it's all the other things too. But yeah, I'm a fan. I really like them. I think that they definitely took away my brain fog when I needed it to, help me function better, get back on track, figure out what the heck I was doing with my life. So yeah, I'm a fan. I like them a lot.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So that was a lot of info. I'm happy to clarify anything for people on any of the things that I talked about.
Oh, I've got a question. Can we find out from either you or Darlene or somebody when you do the was it Weeks in Wellness or
Yeah.
yeah.
If you sign
Oops.
up on my email list on the Haven Herbs website,
Uh-huh.
I will make a big old announcement. I have been
Okay.
launching more online courses that are self-serve. I've been converting my in-person classes into online classes. So right now I have launched the People's Medicine course, which is learning 1 herb a month really well and having
Having
lessons.
trouble with the washers.
I also have
With my
incense
app doesn't work.
is all about making your own as well as learning about incense around the world. And I have the Wellness Hustle, which is about launching your own wellness business. It's business coaching for wellness entrepreneurs. Next in line is Wellness in Weeks and my essential oils class. That's going to be put online in a self-serve kind of whenever you have the time way. So those 2 are next. And if you join the email list, I will let everybody on the email list know when they are launched and ready to enroll.
Great. And then also, what was the website? EW something, what was it?
ewg.org.
Okay, thank you.
I'm going to send Darlene the slide deck and it has embedded
Okay.
links in it. So you will get a copy
Great.
of that for sure.
Great. Thank you. This was really good. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Got a few more minutes if people have questions. And it doesn't necessarily, if you just have a question for an herbalist, right? Or a holistic practitioner, and it's not about what we covered, I'm cool with that too. So just let me know.
I have a
Well,
question, Lily.
I would like to applaud you just for simply saying, because I know that I have said stuff to my oncologist and she'll say, that's not cancer. And it's like it goes nowhere, even though it may be bothering me. So I understand fully when you say oncologists are really narrowed in on treating just the cancer. And if it's unrelated, it goes by the wayside.
Right. And you'll need to seek a different practitioner, right? Those specialists are really great at what they do. But if you need your whole person treated, then go with someone who's holistic and looks at your whole self.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. And there was
Well, but I always think when I start anything, I always ask first because I'm still on chemo and they'll be like, you cannot take that with your chemo.
right.
Like they won't let me take turmeric. No, I don't know why, but they always run it by the pharmacist. So,
Yeah, absolutely. And, if you do a consultation with me, Like it's a full consultation. I find out where you are in your treatment. I find out what you eat. I find out your movement. Like I ask all of these questions. The intake form takes you like 20 minutes to fill out. Sorry, but it does. And then I ask you lots of questions in the intake appointment and clarify things. And then I do research on whatever pharmaceuticals you're on so that I am interfering with your treatment. I play well with others. So, um, you know, I I take very big precautions and I am willing to work with any practitioner that's willing to work with me as well.
Darlene, did you have a question?
Yeah, back towards the beginning, you were talking about your own personal constitution. How do you figure that out?
Oh boy.
Is that a question?
Yeah, well, I mean, I was trained to identify them. You know, I went to herb school, um, and it was a 3-year program with a clinical internship. But there are some basic questions that you can probably answer for yourself, and your constitution isn't fixed throughout your whole life. Like my constitution before menopause was different. um, but your constitution in Western herbalism, they look at um, 3 axes with 6 points. So, are you wet or dry? Are you hot or cold? Are you tense or slack? Um, and that has to do with tissue states. That has to do with, what kind of climate you work well in. That has to do with all kinds of things. And you can kind of observe, but also ask questions to figure out where you are constitutionally based on those axes. In other holistic modalities like Ayurveda, they look at what they call doshas. And doshas are constitutions, and usually people are a combination of doshas. So in Ayurveda, my constitution is a combination of earth and fire, right? But there's also wind and water. And so you kind of figure out what you are and then supplement accordingly with diet and supplementation. Um, Usually, diet and supplementation exists to balance your constitution because everybody needs all of it, right? You can't just be all earth all the time. Um, so you would need things that were fiery, that were watery, that were windy to balance an all earth constitution. Um, Kapha. Um, so that's a holistic practitioner is going to look at you and then figure out who you are and what you need based on who you are. They do it in Chinese medicine too. I mean, it's a worldwide phenomenon for holistic types of modalities. That's what they do, which is why the one true diet is a myth.
So is that constantly changing, or you mentioned menopause? So
Yeah, I mean, there are some shifts that happen throughout your life, and if radical changes happen to you or your environment, it could change your constitution. Absolutely. But it's more it's not all the time. It's not like yesterday I was this and today I'm this. That's not how it works. But it can shift. A lot of people, they had someone check into them and think their constitution is this, but they had it done 10 years ago. I highly recommend reevaluating to see where you are because maybe at that point you lived in the desert and now you live in a temperate rainforest. It's very different. You are a product of your environment, what you put in your body, and what is surrounding your body. Um, so, yeah, I hope that answers your question. I know it's a big,
interesting. Thank you.
yeah.
I've got it. Lily, I keep hearing a lot about creatine all of a sudden. What do you think about that?
It depends on if you need it. Not everybody needs all supplements. And here's the thing about supplements and that world of wellness. Things get trendy for a while and everybody's doing it. and then it falls by the wayside and they find something else. And what's more important is to find a practitioner that you trust, who can evaluate you for you and make recommendations based on what you need as opposed to what's trendy, right? All that stuff is marketing, right? They're just trying to have you buy something new. And if you are reading about something and it seems to do everything, right? Oh my gosh, it's good for this, it's good for that, it's good for this, it's good for that. It's too good to be true, right? Different phytochemicals, different vitamins, different minerals, like all of these different supplements, they have specific roles in the body. And sometimes they are a Swiss Army knife. Vitamin D is a Swiss Army knife. It does lots of things in your body. But, you know, it's not as easy as saying vitamin D will cause you to lose 20 pounds. Like, no. Or, so be wary of marketing claims and seek out a practitioner that's going to really do a full intake and figure out what you need instead of buying the marketing hype. Man, when I had the store in Columbus, people would come in and I could tell what was the trend that month. They had been reading on the internet about X, Y, and Z, and they'd come in and they're like, "You have that?" And I'm like, "I can order it for you. I don't carry it regularly. And I was a little stubborn because sometimes I'd be like, "I'm not carrying that." Like why? But having having the staples that everybody needs was something that I did when I had the brick and mortar store, and formulating based on customer request. That's what I would do. And it was less about piggybacking on the latest trend and more about making sure my community stayed healthy.
So the question in the chat is breathe a supplement.
Is breathe a supplement? Now I know there are different formulas called Breathe. I have one called Breathe Easy. Is this like an essential oil or is it a tincture? Breathe Easy. Yes, so Breathe Easy. All herbal remedies and tonics are considered supplements under the law, right? The FDA regulates drugs and food. They do not regulate supplements. So all of the things that I make are technically supplements. They're not regulated by the FDA. So caveat emptor when you're buying things, make sure they're from people and brands that you trust. Breathe Easy is a supplement that is a lung tonic. It helps strengthen the lungs for compromised people. So people with asthma, people with COPD, for example. And it's helped people get off their nebulizing treatments, get off their inhaler, reduce the amount that they need them, or if they need them at all. And so it has herbs in there that strengthen different parts of the lungs, the bronchi, the alveoli, the pleura, all of it. So. So look for lung treatment. If you need lung treatment, if your lungs are compromised in some way, Breathe Easy could help you. If you're having bronchitis constantly, that might be a reason to seek out Breathe Easy if you don't have asthma or COPD. But there are also other things like I make a tincture that I originally started doing for firefighters who were doing wildfires because they were breathing in a lot of particulates. And so I have a formula for that. Darlene and I were talking about it since all the wildfires in Canada are making everybody wheezy lately. But yeah, so I have different formulas for different reasons. So yeah, if it's more asthma-like, I would say Breathe Easy is probably your bet as a tonic. Because it's a tonic, you take it regularly to strengthen a system. A tonic is something you take like it's food. So in this case, you would take it in the morning and in the evening, twice a day, just a dropper full. A remedy is something that you take when you have a specific issue that you want to go away, like a headache or the flu. So remedies are one thing, tonics are another, and I make both for Haven.
Well, Lily, that brings us up to the 10 o'clock. I want to thank you so much for sharing your time, your talent, your expertise with us every month. We are greatly appreciative of you participating and supporting our cancer community. And a lot of the things that Lily mentioned in her presentation today are offered by Cancer Support Community Central Ohio. So we have the Qigong. We are very excited that Tai Chi is getting started back up at the end of the month on Mondays, Monday mornings. And we have a journaling class that'll be also at the end of the month. We're doing that quarterly. So just a lot of the wellness and the meditation programs with Kevin, with the mindfulness hour. So that coordinating care that Lily had referenced earlier, that is through My Lifeline, which is in conjunction with our headquarters. If you have any questions about that, please don't hesitate to reach out. I'll be happy to talk to you. So Lily will be back with us in July, and she's going to be talking about gut health as whole body health. But thanks everybody for joining us today. And again, Lily, thank you so much.
I'll send you the deck.